Welcome back to the show. We got a great one lined up for you, ladies and gentlemen. Let's not waste any time. Let's talk about the ETFs, the supply drain that could be coming for XRP. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. You can follow us on X, YouTube, and DigPerspectives.com for exclusive content. Right now, $3.22 trillion market cap for crypto. The market's up 1.1%. Bitcoin 92,000 plus, Ethereum 3,000 plus. We see XRP is 222. We're up 1.7 on the 24 at the number 4 spot, and we're up 14.9% on the 7-day. Like seeing that number. As the markets are still struggling to recover, we're ranging between 219 and 225. We'll keep an eye on it. I want to remind you about this, ladies and gentlemen. It's Caleb and Brown. The first thing you want to do in this space is make sure that you have your assets while you're building your portfolio in the safest place possible. This is one of them right here. There's no joke, ladies and gentlemen. You can open your free account by simply going to xrpwealth589.com. xrpwealth589.com. Why? Because this is what you've been waiting for. This is what I've been waiting for since I got into crypto. No more worrying if I've been hacked, if my transfers went through, or if I set my market orders correctly. With Caleb and Brown, I finally have institutional grade custody for my XRP and a real person I can speak with anytime I need support. No more 4-week, 6-week queues, ladies and gentlemen. No more stop sending us messages, we'll get back to you. No, they're 24/7, 365. You can speak to a human being. No more of this. You need help going through a process with something, they will stay on with you and go through it with you. This is why I keep telling you about this, along with the free institutional grade custody. It is a real sense of peace of mind, and you're going to love it the moment you start using it. Click the link under the video or go to xrpwealth589.com and get started today. Well, I showed this in the other video, and it's just too good to not share again. And you will probably see it a lot more because I want this to happen. I'll explain why, more than just its face value.
For the next couple of years, I think we'll substantially be cutting, and maybe cutting out completely, but we'll be cutting income tax. Could be almost completely cutting it because the money we're taking in is going to be so large. And yet, other countries who have been ripping us off for many, many years, and many years they've just been ripping us to shreds.
Okay, so on its face, that's amazing. Let's eliminate all income tax, or at least the majority of it. I love that for all of us as Americans. Absolutely. But yet again, I just want to remind everyone what I'm seeing here is one step closer to us reaching a place where we have the new digital on-chain economy in place, all the digital dollars, all the dollars of the world tokenized and on ledger, and the stocks and the equities and everything else to go with it. And that takes us to the next step, which I think is fair use tax and eliminating all other taxes other than fair use tax. Because the maturation of where we're going with this innovation and technology, I feel like it's obvious at this point we should move to a fair use tax, which is simply, for those that don't know, you only pay tax on something you purchase and you pay it at the point of sale. And I think they could eliminate all other taxes, cap gains, income tax, and the rest of it. And they could simply put a flat fair use tax. So that way you just have to pay whatever percentage when you do a purchase of something. And that is the same for everyone across the board, and no more holding on to your documents throughout the year because you don't need to anymore. Everything's on chain. So this looks like a huge positive step in the right direction to put money back in our pockets. And on the macro side of it, it looks like we may be taking one step closer to moving to a fair use world with this new on-chain economy. Franklin Templeton XRPZ ETF day numbers are spectacular. This is 3-day numbers, 76 million plus. How about that? Yeah. Whoa. Shout out to Chad for that one. Give him a follow. XRP Crypto Wolf says this: 21 Shares is launching a new XRP ETF on November 28th, which was correct at the time that he shared it. But however, it has changed now, and 21 Shares has come out and given a new date. And the XRP spot ETF for 21 Shares is officially launching Monday, December 1st, 2025. So the current XRP ETFs already live now are Rex Osprey, Canary Capital, Franklin Templeton, Bitwise, Grayscale, Volati Shares, and Pro Shares. So those are futures, those last two. But nonetheless, that's where we are right now, ladies and gentlemen, and it is strong like bull. And to add to that, what do we got going this morning? Well, Chad Steingraber's at it again, T-minus 30 minutes to open. Let's see where we're at. And here we are, first 30 minutes, Canary Capital, 105,222 XRP grabbed in the first 30 minutes. Bitwise, 90,966. Franklin Templeton, 58,921. Grayscale, 19,515, all in the first 30 minutes. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. The question here is, does the supply, there we go. Let's just close this for a second. So does the supply absorption I was talking about yesterday make sense now? XRP is leaving exchanges rapidly, says Chart Nerd, whilst price action has been in a 12-month accumulation period. The signal, weak hands lose hope, that's retail, whilst institutional hands are saving for a rainy day. Now, let's go a little further into that whole scenario there and give Chart Nerd a follow too. And obviously Chad Steingraber, he says, remember that ETF funds must source XRP in 1 to 2 days after close. This is not a game of we will wait a couple of weeks for a better deal through other means. They have to have today's guarantee, not tomorrow's promise. He's absolutely right about that. The timed escrow release prevents this option. And he's talking about the escrow release from Ripple. You can't have them waiting for a Ripple escrow release at the first of every month to top off all the ETF sales you've had for the last month. No, no, no. So that means you either go to OTC to get it or you go to the retail exchanges to get it. Remember that ETF funds must source the XRP within 1 to 2 days after close, right? And I think I clicked on the wrong thing again, excuse me. So let me get to this. By this, he means you would have to assume that Ripple will release the monthly escrow, 1 billion XRP, give it entirely to Ripple Prime, dedicated to only the ETF fund managers in advance for the next 40 months. If you really think this, you good luck. Yeah, that's exactly right. They're not going to be waiting for the escrow release, right? This is going to be something they have to do constantly to have their assets in a qualified custodian for everything that they sell. Now, with that, it spurred me to jump into a topic because of this whole idea of supply absorption or supply drain or supply shock, whatever you hear people say. We really get into something interesting here because I asked Grok, how much loose liquidity for XRP is on the retail exchanges, and how long would it take for XRP ETFs to pull it off the market? Happy Friday. Answer one from Grok. Grok says, based on recent on-chain data, the market analysis as of late November 25, the total loose liquidity XRP held in exchange wallets available for trading across major retail centralized exchanges like Binance, Upbit, BitThumb, OKX, you know the others, is estimated approximately at 5 to 6 billion XRP. Okay, well, there's our number. There's our ballpark figure. This figure accounts for ongoing outflows. Binance alone holds 2.71 billion XRP, down 300 million since early October and down 100 million since mid-November. XRP ETF launches. Combined reserves across all track centralized exchanges have declined steadily, with 73 million XRP withdrawn in the last 24 hours alone. signaling reduced sell side pressure and a potential supply shock amid rising institutional demand from ETFs, which have already been absorbed over $670 million in inflows. Now, here's the note. Exact totals fluctuate in real time due to deposits and withdrawals, and not all smaller exchanges report transparently. This range represents most current aggregate from reliable sources, CryptoQuant and community track data. For context, this is roughly 9 to 11% of XRP's 56 billion circulating supply. Answer 2, about how long it could take to drain the exchanges of XRP, just looking at ETFs alone. Answer 2, based on the latest data as of November 28, 2025, XRP spot ETFs, including those from Bitwise, Canary, Grayscale, Franklin Templeton, and remember, we have others that will be launching as well, have seen recent daily net inflows averaging 26 million USD dollars over the past 3 trading days, November 25th to the 27th. At the current XRP price of 220 US dollars, this equates to roughly 11.8 million XRP accumulated per day by these ETFs. To fully absorb 5 to 6 billion XRP in loose liquidity from retail exchanges at this current rate for 5 billion XRP, 422 days, about 14 months. For 6 billion XRP, about 506 days, about 17 months. Now, this assumes steady inflows without acceleration. Early launch days saw higher rates of 70 to 80 million XRP days, right? But recent activity has stabilized lower, and that ETF purchases directly draw from exchange liquidity without significant over-the-counter sourcing, OTC. Overall, average since November 13th launch is 28 million XRP day across 11 trading days. Would shorten this to 179 to 214 days. But the current rates point to the longer timeline. Continued institutional demand could compress it further if inflows ramp up. So this is what we're looking at. And the number that really gets me is approximately 5 to 6 billion. So if there's 5 to 6 billion out here, and we know we still have a very long list of ETFs for XRP to roll out yet, this is just factoring in the ones that are already live. Imagine when we get 20 or more, because we got 19 waiting, 19, and there's 4 or 5 gone now. So we still have a lot of these ETFs to roll out, and then that demand and that draw every day is going to be a higher number, even at lower rates, because more ETFs are out here working and they're all live. So 5 to 6 billion is a number that I feel very strongly about because Grok's good at doing what it does. And to me, I think to myself, well, now we got to add in this: automated market makers, new yield opportunities for XRP. This all locks XRP up in a different way than ETFs, right? Or how about Evernorth, the largest XRP treasury for institutions in the world? When will they start accumulating at scale? So, all of these other factors haven't even been really truly realized to a deep level yet. So, this is extremely positive to me. And then you factor in, too, we don't have the market infrastructure bill passed, which would then allow for utility, which means that the financial institutions, traditional finance, would be able to finally use assets like XRP for settlement and clearing and payments. Now, how about that? And what kind of demand would you put on it then? And would the market makers be smart enough to know that they better get as much XRP they can today, because there'll always be more tomorrow? That's a scenario that could be realized. We don't know for sure. Again, it's not financial advice from me or anyone else. It's just my digital perspectives. I'm liking where this is going. I'll catch all of you on the next one.